we go back to our rooms and we go back to meetings. We have our meetings. We get 3 hours off in the middle of the day to sleep, to rest, watch TV, take your mind off of it. And, you know, I'm just thinking about that verse. And then God puts in my heart, he's like, you know what? Call the rest of your team, see if they want to come to your room, do a Bible study. So I was like, okay. And I was like, all right. So I called a bunch of the guys, probably 25 of the guys came to my room. This is the day we're playing Oklahoma for national championship. So I called the guys, about 20, I call our chaplain who plays the guitar and is awesome and sings, he's awesome. But call him, and all these guys come in my room, and you know, we have a Bible study, and we sing praise and worship songs. I mean, the worst voices you could imagine for 3 hours. And I tell the guys, I'd never done this before, but I just felt so led to do it. I said, you know, they were all, it got quiet, and I said, you know what, guys? Tonight we're going to win the national championship. I'd never said this to anybody on the team before. I said, I don't even know that I've ever really told anybody, besides my family and stuff in that team, but I said, tonight we're going to win the national championship. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah, we're going to win the national championship. But it's not because we're better than Oklahoma, and it's not because we got a better game plan, it's not because we're better than they are. But I said, when we win the national championship tonight, all of us as a team, we're going to give glory to God. And they all looked around, and some guys were crying, and they're all excited, and they're like, that's right, we are. As a team, we celebrated, and we want to give glory to God that night. And then that night, I wore the verses under my eyes. We won the national championship, and 2 days later, we're sitting down having lunch, and I'm deciding whether I'm going to come back or go to the NFL my senior year. And Coach Meyer gets a call on his phone, and he hangs up, and then he says, Timmy, guess what? I was like, what? He said, you know, 24 hours from the time you put those verses under your eyes to 24 hours later, 94 million people Google John 3:16. Thinking, wow, how could 94 million people not know John 3:16? I think that was just one of the greatest life lessons that I've ever learned about standing alone. And about whatever you're doing, do it all for the glory of God. And so it doesn't matter what other people think if you're giving God the glory. And those are a few lessons in my life, how I've tried to stand alone, and God has used that. Just in a little bit, in the little courage that I've had, and the little courage that people have supported me enough to have, you know, I've been able to stand alone, and it's made a difference in people's life. So I encourage you to have a life of success, to have a life of excellence. Have the ability to stand alone. Have the ability to stand alone in your office, in your school, on your team. And I don't just mean that in a spiritual way, I mean that in an athletic way. I mean that in everything. Have the ability to stand alone, because your teammates will learn to respect it. They'll learn to respect you because you stand for something. You know, if you go with the flow and you just do what everybody else does, then you're just wash. You're like Coach Meyer says, you're just the wash. You're everybody else. You're mediocre. You're average because you don't stand for something. But if you stand for something, people might like you, they might criticize you, but at least you stand for something, and at least you mean something. So I encourage you, and whatever you do, stand for something. Be someone who has a life of meaning. Be someone who has a life of purpose. Have the ability to stand alone. And the second point that I wanted to share with you, that has had one of the biggest impacts on my life, is to live with passion. Everything you do, live with passion. You know, when I was a little boy, my dad would travel back and forth from the Philippines. And one trip he got back from the Philippines, and we're sitting there at the airport, me and my brothers and my mom, and we're sitting there, and my dad lands, and he comes walking off the plane, and we give him a big hug, and he just got done watching a movie. He was like, you know, just watch this movie on the plane. It's an awesome movie. He said, we're going to Blockbuster. He didn't tell her what it was. And so we get home, we went to Blockbuster, we got home, and he sat down and he said, guys, on the plane, I watched the movie Braveheart. He said, you know, it inspired me. He said, I want you to watch this, and I want you to watch William Wallace in this movie, and I want you to watch the courage that he had, and I want you to watch the passion that he lived with. And I want you to live with this passion and this courage. So we watched the movie, and I was like 7 years old. I was a little boy watching all this kill. It was awesome. And so I'm watching this movie, Braveheart, and ever since then, it's been by far my favorite movie. Nothing else has come close. Obviously, it's a great movie. Mel Gibson's amazing, but it's also because of my dad's story with that. But that had an impact on me in living with passion, watching my dad live with passion. Whatever you do wholeheartedly unto the Lord. That means live with passion. Have some juice about you. You know, every time I step into the football arena, every time I step into the weight room, every time I step onto a practice field, I want there to be something different about me. When you see me on a football field, I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'm going to be passionate. I'm going to love what I'm doing. I'm going to give my whole heart to that. Every time I step on there. Because that's what separates me. You know, when you live with passion and you're enthusiastic about what you do, it's contagious. People want to have that. They're drawn to that. That's something my dad taught me when I was a little boy. Is that something you can do to separate yourself? That's how you can be different. And I thought, wow, it takes no talent to be different. Everything for me was about being better and getting that edge and being better than the rest. So he said, you can do that with living through passion. You can be enthusiastic, where it's going to be contagious, where other people are going to want to play with you. Other people are going to want to be on your team. Other people are going to want to be in your classroom. Because you love life. You're passionate about it. You know, you're passionate about working out. You're passionate about training. Even when other people are saying, man, how much more do we got to do, man? You're saying, I love this. I live for this. This is what I want to do. And as Coach Meyer said, if you don't, fake it till you make it. If you don't have juice, fake it till you have some, because it's contagious and it will grow in you and you'll learn to love it. Because if you're around people that are excited, that love life, that are passionate about it, it's going to make you passionate. It's going to make you excited about it. It's going to make you love life. So be one of those people that everyone wants to be around. Every day I step on the football field, every time I do anything, all the people that I've met here, I hope one thing you could say about me is that I love life and that I'm passionate. So I encourage you in everything you do, in your office, in your work, wherever it is, live with passion. Be different. Love life. It'll make a difference. It will make a difference. And you will see a difference in your life. And the third thing is, and probably the most important, is finish strong. Finish strong. You know, my junior year, we were playing the SEC championship, and we were playing the University of Alabama. And we were going into the fourth quarter, and we're losing, and we got the offense together, and we huddled up, and everybody got together, and we just got the ball back, and we're down by, I don't know, 4 or 5 points. We know if we score a touchdown, we'll go ahead. And so I gather everybody together, and I tell them, we've worked all year. We've worked all year for this. Finish strong right now. Finish strong right now. The whole year, our motto was finish. Finish. So every sprint we did, we had to finish through the line. Every bench press we did, we had to do 2 more. Every leg press we did, we had to do it till we were crying. Everything we did, we were going to finish what we did. So in that game,